Hello.
Hello and welcome back to Blend Precisely and also Aromatherapist in Business. We are streaming today into the Aromatherapist in Business page because there were quite a few questions coming up around scales. We have been talking a lot about blending lately and calculating everything in grams and using scales actually. And for that reason, we have put a small video today, not a video, but a live together to just talk about scales and the scales I'm using here in my business, Petal and Stem Aromatherapy Business, because I started probably like a couple of years ago weighing all of my essential oils and not using drops anymore. So the questions came up, which scales are you using? So first of all, welcome. So that's a quick intro just to say why we are here today. And also the time change. So for everyone in Europe who has been waiting to do it at 5 p.m., because we had our time change already. So it's 4 p.m. today. So I hope you catch the replay. And also in the United States, when is the change of time change there?
I think it'll be in a couple of weeks or so. It's always
At
off.
the end? Yeah, it's always off by a couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just get started. And in the description, you will see also a link to our blog post. So this time we try to link everything to the blog post and the different scales I'm using in the business. And you will see which ones I'm working with. But I just wanted to present you a few and why I'm using scales and the grams. So let's say you're creating a blend for a customer, and I just had an example, for example, yesterday, a customer called me and she said, I would like to really have a gingerbread blend. I'm like, okay, I can do that. But she said, I've got specific oils I want in them. She wanted ginger and she wanted cinnamon, she wanted nutmeg and orange, of course. And then she wanted, just a second, I'm forgetting one. Cinnamon bark. I'm forgetting one. So anyway, so she gave me a recipe and there were all the drops in there. And I'm like, okay, if I'm using drops and I have to scale the product, I need to know the 54222 drops, basically, how much they weigh in order to scale them and to repeat. Oops, sorry, to repeat the offer or to repeat the blend. So what I did, I used Blend Precisely and I put in the drops, and then I went and actually looked at the weight and also the percentages we offer in Blend Precisely, and then I scaled it up to 4 grams. And that came to like 40 drops of ginger, 32 drops of so and so. But I actually went by weight. And to use a weight with essential oils, you want to have a scale which actually goes down to 0.00, so 0.01 basically, meaning a traditional kitchen scale will not have that. If you have like traditional kitchen scales like this, they go up to 5 kilograms, or what is 5 kilograms in ounces? I'm not sure.
Uh, Not sure about ounces, but
Yeah,
pounds.
but these are the large kitchen stick scales you actually use to bake. And there you don't need to be as precise as you have to be with the oils. So when you're using these big ones, that's great for weighing out large batches of butter and beeswax sometimes. And if you're making scrubs, for example, last year I made a whole bunch of scrubs for Christmas. I had a lot of orders. So I used the big kitchen scales for those ones. But nevertheless, for actually weighing the essential oils, I used one of these small ones. I don't know if you can see them. These are called jewelry scales. And the jewelry scales go literally down. I don't know if you can see it if I click here.
Yeah, we
Can you?
can see it.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
go down to point and 2 digits after the point. And that is the point of creating blends, is to be really exact. So if you have an essential oil blend and you have to only put in, let's say, zero point 0.3 grams, you won't get that with these large kitchen scales. There's some in between, and I'm always having multiple ones for workshops as well. But these ones go up to 2 and sometimes 3 kilograms. And those ones are really nice to do batches in between. So if you do 3 scrubs, you might end up being around 1 kilogram. So here on those ones, I then do the sugars and the oils I weigh out there, but essential oils and all the small preservative type of things, vitamin E, anything what needs like a small number, the jewelry scales are really, really good. And I was just making this one nutty cacao facial mask the other day, and I wanted to show you how a formulation is actually being done in the cosmetic world because they don't use drops at all. They use percentages in grams or milliliters. And how they do this, it's truly out of my workshop, but it's a little bit, if you can see that here, nope, here, that's the percentage, right? That's the percentage. So if you have all of these ingredients, and I exchanged a few and I played around, and you do the percentage part, you want to know how much grams you're going to put in. If you end up with a total product of 50 grams. So if you can see lavender oil, for example, you only need 0.5 grams. So that's really, really little. And even sometimes with like hot oils, cinnamon oils, you go down to 0.15 grams even. So for that reason, I love the jewelry scales. And there are quite a few. And in the blog post, you will actually see a few recommendations. But so those ones are great. Those ones, these two, I use all the time. And then these ones I use for large batches. So literally making a ton of scrubs.
So just as a reference point for people who are familiar with ounces, 0.15 grams is 0.005 ounces. So.
Yeah, and so some scales actually offer the 0.005 ounces. And I have included them in our blog post as well. So scroll up where you see the video right now, and then in the description, you will find a link to our blog post. And in that blog post, you will find all the different scales I'm talking about here. So the reason why you want to do grams again, that's that. Why do you want to basically use grams instead of drops?
Well, multiple reasons. The primary reason is that drops are inaccurate. So as Katrin mentioned in one of her posts previously, the size of the orificer that you pour from is different between different brands, and sometimes even within the brand. So I went through a very mathematical exercise to see how bad it was, and you can be off like 50%.
Oh, by the way, I linked to that exercise as well in the blog post, so you can see
okay,
that.
great.
And I also
so to do all the mathematical magic on the back end, I reduce everything down to grams anyway. So if you're typing in grams, it goes straight into the background as back end of the software as grams. If it's drops, then there's like a number of calculations that say, okay, well, we're going to convert from drops to use 30 drops per gram to calculate it into milliliters. And then once I have milliliters, I know the density of the oil. Then I convert that into grams. So it's just easier, better. You want a reference point basically, and if you have a consistent reference point, then you know, and it will be exact and it will be accurate. And if you're making any kind of product or you want to just be able to have something repeatable, you need it exact. And that's it.
Exactly. So yeah, I've been enlightened a couple of years ago because in schools, aromatherapy schools, we get taught to count drops. And sometimes I did find products turning out in a different way than they actually than I wanted them, or the previous product, and I was wondering about that. But once I found out about cosmetic formulation and using scales, everything became much easier. So just to recap one more time, for the really small ones, use jewelry scales, which go down to 2 digits after the comma. These ones are around like literally $10. There are much, much more expensive ones out there, and they are also used in cosmetic formulation. They are extremely precise and they don't run on batteries and so on. But I think for the purpose and when you start out, those ones are great. So this one is like 10 to 15. These ones, which go up to 2 or 3 kilograms, for smaller batch sizes, basically, they're around $15 to $17. And then, well, the kitchen scales, you can get them very cheaply in any kind of store. I've got a few which were around $20, $21, $25. And they work just really great. Make sure you have a replacement of batteries always there, because sometimes when you're in a workshop or you're just creating blends and the battery runs out, that's not pleasant. Or just have a second backup one. So that's another little one. And then make sure that your surface is super straight. You don't want any bumps in it, because the smaller the scale, the more sensitive it gets. So you really want to make sure you have it on a very flat surface.
Yeah, you
And
can always go to any hardware store and say, "Give me a level," to see if your table is level. There's a little bubble.
Mhm.
That, you know,
Yeah,
we'll talk
yeah,
about that
exactly.
maybe in another live.
Another adventure. But this is it for to start out. Use two scales. That's all you need basically, and you are under $30, and they will be saving you time and money and everything else, and you can literally reproduce every single blend super easily. And then again, in Blend Precisely, you can look at the percentages, you can look at the grams, you can use drops, and then look at the statistics to convert them into grams. So it's
Yeah.
really
So I want to point out it's not just us that are talking about grams.
no.
We actually spoke with Tisserand, and this is something that he really wants people to stop relying on drops. So there's an entire product line, Floriana, which they only sell their
Yeah.
product in grams,
And
or milligrams.
if I can
So
show
yeah,
you, actually,
yes,
that was a big,
there's a campaign.
there's a big discussion was there around. I don't know if you can see it, not really. But down here, they don't even mention milliliters anymore. You can only find it on their website, but they are selling their oils in grams, because essential oils are being sold in kilograms. So really, they have been the most accurate along the whole way of essential oils and distilleries, and they are pretty much the only one. But he's French, and he insisted on being using grams instead of milliliters. So because the volume can change. Anyway, that's another topic. Today is only about scales. I wanted to show you what I'm using, and I hope you get something out of it. Click on the link, and you can find everything in the blog one more time. And that's it. We didn't want to make it too long today. 13
Stop
minutes.
talking so much.
I love talking. People want to know where you are right now, because you've got these beautiful redwood trees in the back.
Yeah, I'm in near Santa Cruz, California. It's a very beautiful place. We used to have a
Wow.
house like 5 doors down here. It's one of
Yeah.
our favorite places to be.
Oh, you know what? There's going to be a treat, guys. We haven't seen us actually together in one room, but next Sunday we will be together in one room.
Woo!
As long as Seth gets the flight over really safely, if they let him in with
If they let
all.
me in.
Yeah, so we will be in one place next Sunday, and that's going to be for the first time since you got to know us, because we have been living separate for now for 5 months, but only because of work. So we wanted to fuel this Blend Precisely app, and it's out. All right, everyone, have a wonderful Sunday, and I will pick up our son now from surfing, and I hope you have a really, really fun day wherever you are.
Okay.
Happy times change. Ciao,
Yeah.
ciao.
Bye.